Okay, well, welcome to this video, which incidentally is my first video on YouTube, so please forgive any schoolboy mistakes or monotony or terrible mannerisms that I might have. But anyway, I've got the day off today, so I thought I would make a short video. You can take it as a review, as a comparison, whichever way you like really, of the Cumulus Panyam 600 sleeping bag, and as a comparison really, the Rab Ascent 700 sleeping bag. Both down bags, both in my opinion suitable for most winter conditions in the UK. Similar sort of prices. One's obviously from a much larger manufacturer and one's from a smaller Polish manufacturer. I'm not sure how big Cumulus are, but they've been around for a while, and they seem to be growing. So let's see what's what. So I suppose first of all, pack sizes. Similar pack sizes really, although in different shapes, I suppose. The Cumulus does pack down quite a bit smaller than the Rab, but you've got sort of the size of a good loaf really. It does compress down a little bit more, but not a noticeable amount. So the stuff sack that you get, no compression straps, but it does work quite well. The bag does fill the sack and doesn't really leave much space for compression. So that's the Cumulus. The Rab is in a water resistant compression sack. That's compressed as much as the sack will allow, just by using the compression sacks. Sort of football sort of size, but it does compress down quite a bit further. There we go, so probably another 20% in compression. Different shapes, one's a sort of flattish cylinder, the other is well, like a loaf. So in terms of pack size, I would favour the Cumulus. It sits nicely in the bottom of my pack. It's a little bit trickier to pack into the compression sack than the Rab, but it doesn't really give any problems. So in terms of weight, Cumulus say that this bag will weigh 1 kilo. On my scales, which are being zeroed to include for it's a chopping board. So sat on top, that comes to 1024 grams, including the stuff sack. And the Rab is 1394 grams. So 350 grams heavier on the Rab. In terms of actual spec, you have to excuse me, I'm sort of dragging the spec off the relevant website. So Cumulus, it's 850 fill power down, as opposed to 700 for the Rab. It's Polish goose down, which is it feels nice, to be honest. I'm quite new-ish to down products. I've had both of these for just over a year. I've used them both maybe 5 times each, so I can give a fairly impartial and hopefully accurate opinion of both of these bags. So 850 fill power down for the Cumulus, trapezoid chambers, which is kind of an up and down, like teeth going into a cog sort of pattern. It's a YKK zip. We'll come back to the zip shortly. Zips top and bottom, so you can ventilate from the bottom or the top. Full length baffle, which again we'll come back to in a little while. Independent downfield collar, adjustable hood, which apparently is 3-dimensional, and a storage sack. The Rab is 700 fill power down. We've done the weights, we know that that's just under 1400 grams. Rab, we've got that down at 1290, which is a little bit optimistic, but maybe that doesn't include the stuff sack. Hydrophobic down in the Rab, and I believe Cumulus have now started using hydrophobic down, but I think if you get either of them wet, you're going to be for a bit of an uncomfortable evening. YKK zip, 3/4 length. Both are available left and right hand. Hood, angled footbox, compression sack and storage sack, hand filled in Derby. So I tell a lie, it's not 700 fill power down, it's 650 with 700 grams of down in there, so apologies for that. So 700 grams of 650 fill power down in the Rab and 600 grams of 850 fill power down in the Cumulus. Performance wise, very similar bags. The comfort on the Cumulus is -6 with a limit to -13. The Rab is comfort to -2, a limit of -8.5, but a Rab sleep limit of -12. So I personally would take the Rab sleep limit of -12 and the Cumulus limit of -13. They're there or thereabouts, and to be honest, sleeping in both bags, I would tend to agree that they're fairly accurate. I tend to sleep not warm, not cool. You know, I sleep on a decent mat, and both have kept me warm in temperatures down to about -10. So there's no worries with that really. In terms of the baffle design on the Rab, it's trapezoid as well, so it's the same. It's the same baffle design on both bags. Price wise, the Rab can be picked up between sort of 2 to 250. I think the list price is 250 quid. You shop around, you can get it for sort of 200, give or take a tenner either way, and the Cumulus is dependent on the exchange rates. I paid about 230 quid for that, but that was before the Brexit vote, and currently at the moment you're looking at about 250 quid. So that's a quick overview of both bags. Let's get them out and you can see exactly what's what. So it's not a bad bag on the Rab, to be fair. It's compression, there's a draw cord at the top. I'd be fairly confident that it would survive a sort of decent shower, or you know, a little bit of wetness before it starts to impede on the performance of the bag. And again, you do have that hydrophobic down. So I'll get both bags out, give them a bit of a shake. You have to excuse me if you keep losing my head, but so we'll get both bags out, we'll lie them on the floor for a moment or two, let them puff up for a similar amount of time. I'm sure if you gave these bags half an hour to fully expand and get the down relaxed, then you'd see a different story. But for the purposes of this, we will spread them out and see what's what. Now you can probably see that, you know, I'm not the smallest bloke in the world. I'm not a 9 stone racing snake. Both bags fit me well. The Rab is a little bit roomier. There's a little bit more room, maybe an inch or so on all dimensions. across the shoulders, the hips, and the foot box. Although the Cumulus certainly doesn't feel constricted or anything like that really. So the materials do feel quite a lot lighter on the Cumulus. At first I was a little bit nervous about that, but I've not been delicate with either bag, and they've both performed very well. Cumulus is I think it's a Pertex Endurance. Bear with me one moment. So it's a Pertex Quantum, and the Rab is a Pertex Microlight inner and outer. So both Pertex, both branded outer fabrics, branded zips. I suppose you could say that the Rab bag itself is branded, maybe a little bit better than the Cumulus, but you know, let's not focus too much on brand awareness and size of brand at the moment. Right now, I'll take you in a little bit closer so you can see exactly what's what with these two bags. I'll do my best to show you some of the details, and we'll see what happens. Okay. Right, so you can see there that the Cumulus does loft quite a bit. It lofts more than the Rab. You can see particularly in the foot box. I don't know if you can see that particularly well on the video, but it does. There's a noticeable amount to the hand. You can feel that there's the down is better quality, and there's also more down in the foot box. The zips, both YKK zips, going pretty much top to bottom. One bag's blue, one bag's orange, which doesn't really make any difference, to be perfectly honest. One thing the two things really that I prefer of the Rab is the hood. The hood is a better hood, I think. It feels deeper. The hood on the Cumulus feels quite a bit, it feels shallow, like it's not doing a very good job of covering your head, but I suppose if you were cinched up completely, then it would be okay. Personal preference, prefer the hood on the Rab. You've also got an internal security pocket on the Rab, just on the inside. Let me see if I can show you that. There we go. Just here, so coins, mobiles, anything like that. Sadly, that's missing from the Cumulus. Stitching details, both are very good. There's no issues with the stitching on either bag. You know, they are both well made, and let me just pop you back down again. Sorry for the hand. There we go. So you've really got two very similar bags. One on paper is a higher spec, which is the Cumulus. It uses better fabrics, lighter fabrics, better quality down. The other is the Rab. It's a mainstream manufacturer, hand-filled in Derbyshire in the UK. Although I believe on the sack, let's see if it says, no, shell made in China, insulation filled in the UK. Doesn't really give any more information than that on the tags. The other thing, if it makes much of a difference, you've got hanging loops on the foot box of the Cumulus. So if you wanted to hang it from the foot box, you can. Most of my trips are short trips. I've never really had any need to hang the bags. Now that they've both lofted a little bit more, I'll bring you back in and you can see the difference in loft, hopefully. I'm not sure if that's coming through very clearly or not, but to the eye, the Cumulus has lofted about, I would say, about 2 inches, maybe a touch more than the Rab. Okay, so I'm starting to waffle on a little bit. So to summarise, you've got 2 bags sort of between 200 and 250 quid. I tend to use the Cumulus, my wife uses the Rab, but you know, sometimes just to mix it up a little bit, you know, I'll use the Rab and she'll stay at home. She's never used the Cumulus, but yeah, both very good bags for UK 4-season camping. I wouldn't have any trouble in recommending either of them really for 90% of those applications. I suppose if you're going sort of mega cold, then certainly anything less than maybe -10, -15, then you would need to consider a higher spec bag. But like I say, for me, on a good mat, I use a Thermarest all season. Never been cold from below, and these keep me warm from above really. So yeah, that's it. Well, thank you very much for watching, and any feedback, please leave a comment in the boxes below. Okay, cheers. Thanks guys.